As president of the LOC Board of Directors, I now call to order the 2021 League of Oregon Cities Annual Business Meeting. Welcome, everyone. Now, before I start on this rest of our agenda here, there's some great stuff in this in our meeting tonight, but some of it, or this afternoon, some of it is a little bit dry, and I apologize, but process, case in point, Zoom protocols. We all know a lot about Zoom, but both I and the LOC staff are respectfully asking each attendee to follow the below protocols when participating in today's meeting. These protocols allow me to better recognize those members who wish to speak, while simultaneously ensuring that LOC staff can properly monitor quorum status and create accurate minutes. If you need assistance with any of these protocols, have questions, please contact Jamie. Her email address is displayed in the chat. Please make sure that your name displayed profile identifies you by your name and the name of your city, so you are easily identifiable. If you need assistance in changing the displayed name or adding the name of your city to the displayed profile, please contact Jamie. Please make sure that your microphone is muted. By placing yourself in mute, you will eliminate any potential distracting background noise. Please only use the chat feature for contacting staff for assistance. The chat may not be used for voting or communicating privately with other members. If you have questions or wish to make a comment, please utilize the hand raising feature in Zoom and wait for me or my team that's helping me to recognize you before speaking. Once I recognize you, to ensure clarity in the minutes, please clearly state your name for the record and then ask your question or make your comment. If you need assistance in learning how to utilize the hand raising feature in Zoom, please contact Jamie, again in chat. She can provide you with needed assistance. If you make a motion, please clearly state your name for the record. If you second a motion, please clearly state your name for the record. I will repeat back for the record who made the motion, who seconded the motion, and a summary of that motion. Thank you for your assistance in helping to streamline today's meeting. And following these protocols, I believe the meeting will run more efficiently and the record of the meeting will be more accurate. Our next item of business is the consent calendar, which includes two items: the treasurer's report and the minutes of the 2020 LOC annual business meeting. These items are available in the agenda packet on the LOC website. Given that the meeting is conducted virtually and in an effort to streamline this process and avoid confusion, I have been advised that two current board members have volunteered to make all standard motions and seconds. This does not preclude other attendees from making motions or seconds, but please know that for these motions that we reasonably anticipate as necessary, there are board members presently prepared to make the motions and seconds. As such, is there a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar?
This is Tania, Counselor from Central Point. I move to approve the consent calendar.
Steve Calloway, Hillsborough Mayor, and I second.
Thank you, Tania and Steve. I have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. Under LOC's Constitution and bylaws, each member city is allowed one vote and has designated one individual to serve as the voting delegate for that city. Each voting delegate should have received a reminder email this morning that you are your city's voting delegate. Since we are virtual this year, voting will be done via roll call. LOC lobbyist Jenna Jones will call out the name of each city who has registered a voting delegate with the LOC. If you are a registered voting delegate when your city's name is called, please unmute your microphone, identify yourself by name and city, and then either vote in the affirmative, negative, or abstain on the proposed slate or question motion. For example, when the city of Sherwood is called, Tim Rosner will unmute his microphone and state, Tim Rosner, Sherwood City Council President, I vote yes to approve, blah, blah, blah. City lobbyist Jenna Jones will only call those cities who have registered voting delegates on file. If you have not registered voting delegates on file, you should immediately email LOC's Jamie Hefner at the email address on the screen so that she can register your vote, register you as a voting delegate. When Jenna has finished reading the roll call of those cities already registered with a voting delegate, any last-minute registered delegates will be called. Jenna, please call the roll.
City of Albany,
Alex Johnson, Mayor.
yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you. City of Amity,
Rachel King, Mayor, vote yes.
thank you. City of Ashland, City of Ashland. Okay, next, City of Astoria,
Bruce Jones, Mayor, yes.
City of Banks,
Stephanie Jones, Mayor, yes.
City of Brownsville, City of Brownsville, City of Burns, Burns. Okay, Canby,
Mayor Brian Hodson, yes.
thank you. Cannon Beach,
Mayor Sam Stidell, yes.
thank you. Carlton, City of Carlton, City of Cascade Locks,
Butch Miller, Counselor, yes.
Cave Junction,
Meadow Martell, Mayor, yes.
Central Point,
Counselor Browning, yes.
Coos
Judge Moore.
Bay,
Counselor Sarah Stevens.
I think you said yes, but you cut out on our end. Can you repeat yourself, Counselor Stevens? City Manager Craddock, if you're on the line, you're the alternate.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Cornelius,
Yes, thank you. Our cities.
Rob Drake, City Manager, yes.
Corvallis,
Gabe Shepard, Counselor, yes.
Cottage Grove,
Jeff Gowing, Mayor, yes.
Dallas,
Brian Dalton, Mayor, yes.
Dayton, City of Dayton. Okay, Durham, City of Durham. Eagle Point,
Ruth Jenks, Mayor, yes.
thank you. Estacada, City of Estacada. Forest Grove,
Pete Truax, Mayor, yes.
Happy Valley, City of Happy Valley. Okay, Harrisburg,
Michelle Eldridge, City Administrator, yes.
Hermiston,
Rod Harden, Counselor, yes.
Hillsborough,
Mayor Steve Calloway, yes.
thank you. City of Independence,
Mayor John McCardle, yes.
thank you. Oregon,
City Manager Aaron Palmquist, yes.
thank you, Aaron. Joseph, City of Joseph. Kaiser,
Kathy Clark, Mayor Kaiser, yes.
King City,
Jamie Fender, Council President, yes.
Klamath Falls,
Todd Andrus, Counselor, yes.
Lafayette,
Maurice Browl, Mayor, yes.
thank you, Mayor. Lincoln City,
Susan Waukee, Mayor, yes.
Madras,
Richard Larrabee, Mayor, yes.
Malin, City of Malin. Okay, McMinnville. City of McMinnville. Medford,
Sarah Spansale, Medford City Councilor, yes.
Milwaukee,
Mayor Mark Gamba, yes.
Monmouth, City of Monmouth, Myrtle Creek, City of Myrtle Creek, Newport,
Dean Sawyer, Mayor, yes.
North Plains,
Mayor Terry Lenahan, yes.
Pendleton,
Mayor John Turner, yes.
Philomath,
Mayor Chaz Jones, yes.
Phoenix,
Jim Snyder, Phoenix Councilman, yes.
Redmond,
George Endicott, Mayor, yes.
thank you, Mayor, Reedsport,
Dee Dee Murphy, City Councilor, yes.
Rogue River,
Mayor Wayne Stewart, Rogue River, yes.
Roseburg,
Andrea Zielinski, City Council, yes.
Sandy, City of Sandy, Scappoose, okay, Seaside,
Steve Wright, Seaside Council President, yes.
City of Sherwood,
Tim Rosner, Council President, yes.
Siletz,
Susan Traxel, City Councilor, yes.
Silverton, City of Silverton, Sisters, St. Helens,
Jessica Chilton, Councilwoman,
thank you. What was your vote? Yes or no?
yes.
Thank you. Sublimity,
Cass Morrison, City Councilor, yes.
Tangent,
Joe Samaniego, City Manager, yes.
The Dalles,
Darcy Long, City Councilor, yes.
Tigard,
Mayor Jason Snyder, yes.
Toledo,
Mayor Rod Cross, yes.
Troutdale, City of Troutdale.
Mayor Randy Lauer, yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor Randy Lauer.
Tualatin,
Thank you.
Tualatin, City of Turner, Turner, Umatilla,
City Manager David Stockdale, yes.
Veneta,
Keith Weiss, Mayor, yes.
West Lynn,
Mayor Jules Walters, yes.
Willamina, City of Willamina, Wilsonville, City of
Mayor Julie Fitzgerald, yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Winston, City of Winston. Okay, I know it sounds like we're done, but now for last minute voting delegates. City of Boardman,
City Manager Karen Pettigrew, yes.
City of Drain,
Councilor Barker, yes.
Florence,
Woody Woodbury, Council President, yes.
Jefferson,
Walt Perry, Counselor, yes.
Portland,
Nissan Kwan on behalf of Commissioner Carmen Rubio, City of Portland.
Yes.
Thank you. Prineville,
Steve Uffelman, Council President, yes.
Salem,
City Manager Steve Powers, yes.
North Bend,
Jessica Engelkey, Mayor of North Bend, yes.
and the ayes have it. $61 yes.
Mayor Mays, we had the motion passed. The consent calendar has passed.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is election of officers and directors. So the LOC bylaws and constitution provide for a 16-member board, which consists of 4 officer positions and 12 directors. 3 of the directors are city managers, of which 1 is a non-voting member. Under the bylaws, the current treasurer automatically assumes the position of vice president in the year following service as treasurer. The vice president automatically assumes the position of president in the year following service, and the president automatically assumes the office of immediate past president. Also, the city manager in the non-voting position automatically assumes one of the voting positions reserved for a city manager. Directors serve staggered 3-year terms, which means the terms of 3 directors, including 1 city appointed official, expire at the end of 2021. It is those positions, along with the position of treasurer, that we'll be voting on today. Under the LOC bylaws, a nominating committee chaired by the board's immediate past president is formed to submit the membership a slate of candidates to fill the open board positions. This year's nominating committee consisted of Tim Slater, City Councilor, North Bend; Tanea Browning, City Councilor, Central Point; John McArdle, Mayor of Independence; Arlene Burns, Mayor, Mosier; Steve Uffelman, Councilor, Prineville; John Walsh, City Administrator, St. Helens; Tim Rosner, City Councilor, Sherwood; Carol Westfall, Mayor, Klamath Falls; McKinnon McDonald, City Councilor, Pendleton; Debbie Cabrales, City Councilor, Woodburn; and Marilyn Smith, City Councilor, Albany. Please join me in thanking members of this committee. In selecting its slate of candidates, the nominating committee was required to consider the current composition of the LOC Board of Directors and trying to create the slate to achieve representation from all geographic regions of the state, representation from cities with small, medium, and large populations, and representation from underserved or underrepresented communities. Additionally, as it relates to the open city appointed official position, the nominating committee is required to submit the name of the person recommended by the Oregon City County Management Association of the OCCMA. If the OCCMA considered the same criteria the nominating committee considered for the open elected officials position. The OCCMA did consider the same criteria considered by the nominating committee. As such, the nominating committee's recommendation for the open city appointed official position is the same person recommended by the OCCMA. Now I ask Councilor Slater to provide the nominating committee report to the members.
Well, thank you, President Mays. I assume I'm on, yeah. We had an excellent expanded nominating committee with superb staff informational support, which produced a resource which will be valuable to future nominating committees as well. On behalf of our nominating committee, I'm pleased to submit to the membership in the following nominations. For President, Tanea Browning, Councilor, Central Point. For Vice President, Steve Callaway, Mayor, Hillsborough. For Treasurer, Dave Drossman, Mayor, Hermiston. As immediate past president, Keith Mays, Mayor, Sherwood. For elected official director, Catherine Biscoe, Councilor, Philomath. For elected official director, Candy Kenda Picard, Councilor from Metolius. For elected official director, Jessica Engelkey, Mayor, North Bend. For the non-voting appointed city official, Tina West, City Manager, Willamina, and that is our slate, sir.
Thank you, Councilor Slater. Because the LOC Constitution and bylaws prescribe that the positions of president, vice president, immediate past president, and the voting appointed positions, the voting appointed city position are automatic, these positions are not subject to a vote and are automatically assumed. The membership is required to vote on the treasurer's position, the 3 elected official director positions, and the non-voting appointed official director position. Councilor Slater has advised this body of the nominating committee's recommended candidates for each of these positions, all of which are presently showing on your screen. Are there any nominations from the floor which differ from those recommended by the nominating committee for any of these 5 positions? To make a motion, please unmute your microphone, state your name, the name of your city, and who you wish to nominate.
Mayor Mays, we're not seeing the list on the screen.
Yeah, there we go. There it is. Thank you, Steve. Again, one more time. Any nominations from the floor? Going once? Going twice? Seeing that there are no nominations from the floor, then we will proceed to the election. For clarity's sake, I will ask Patty Mulvihill, LOC's General Counsel, to remind the membership of the slate of candidates upon which we are voting.
Thank you, President Mays. So for clarity's sake, you're voting on the treasurer position. The nominee is Mayor David Drotzman from the city of Hermiston. You're also voting on 3 elected official director positions. Those 3 candidates are Catherine Biscoe, councilor from the city of Philomath; Candy Conga Pekar, councilor from the city of Metolius; Jessica Engelke, mayor from the city of North Bend. For the non-voting appointed official, you're being asked to appoint Kenna West, city manager from Willamina. Thank you, President Mays.
Thank you, Patty. Do I have a motion and a second to accept the nominating committee's slate of candidates for the remaining positions subject to election?
Tina Browning, councilor from Central Point. I move to accept the nomination committee's slate for the candidates for the remaining positions subject to election.
Steve
Mayor
Calloway,
Jason
Mayor
Snyder from
Hillsborough.
Tigard, I second.
All right, thank you, Tania and John Snyder from Tigard. I have a motion and a second to accept the slate as presented by the LOC nominating committee. Again, voting will be done via roll call. Jenna will call out the name of each city who has registered a voting delegate with the LOC. If you are a registered voting delegate, then when your name is called, please unmute your microphone, identify yourself by name and city, and vote in either the affirmative, negative, or abstain the proposed slate of candidates. You guys rocked it the first go around. We have this stuff down. But as example again, when the city of Sherwood is called, Tim Rosner will unmute his microphone and state, Tim Rosner, Council President, I vote blank to adopt the proposed slate of candidates. LOC staff will only call those cities that are registered voting delegate on file. If you have not registered, it's still not too late. Please immediately email Jamie Hefner. Her email address is on the screen so that she can register you as a voting delegate. When Jenna has finished reading the roll call of those cities already registered with a voting delegate, any last minute registered delegates will be called. Jenna, please call the roll.
City of Albany.
Alex Johnson II, Mayor of Albany, Oregon. I vote to affirm the adoption of the nominees.
Amity.
Mayor Rachel King, I vote to approve the board slated candidates.
Ashland. Astoria.
Bruce Jones, Mayor, I vote yes.
Banks.
Stephanie Jones, Mayor, I vote yes.
Brownsville. Burns. Canby,
Brian Hodson, Mayor of Canby, approve the slate.
Cannon Beach,
John Stidell, Mayor, I vote to approve.
Carlton, Cascade Locks,
Butch Miller, Counselor, yes.
Cave Junction,
Meadow Martell, yes. Mayor.
Central Point,
Tania Browning, Counselor, yes.
Coos Bay,
Sarah Stevens, Counselor, yes.
Cornelius, Corvallis,
Gabe Shepard, Counselor, yes.
Cottage Grove,
Jeff Gowing, Mayor, yes.
Dallas,
Brian Dalton, Mayor, yes.
Dayton, Durham, Eagle Point,
Ruth Jenks, Mayor, yes.
Estacada, Forest Grove,
Pete Truax, Mayor, yes.
Happy Valley, Harrisburg,
Joel Eldridge, City Administrator, yes.
Hermiston,
Rod Harden, Counselor, yes.
Hillsborough,
Steve Calloway, Mayor, yes.
Independence,
John McCardle, Mayor, Independence, yes.
Irrigan,
City of Irrigan, Aaron Palmquist, City Manager, yes.
Joseph, Kaiser,
Kathy Clark, Mayor of Kaiser, yes.
King City,
Jamie Fender, Council President, yes.
Klamath Falls,
Todd Andrus, Counselor, yes.
Lafayette,
Marie Sproul, Mayor, yes.
thank you, Mayor. Lincoln City,
Mayor Susan Waukee, I vote yes.
Madras,
Richard Lattabie, yes. Mayor.
Malin, McMinnville, Medford,
Sarah Spansale, Counselor, yes.
Milwaukee,
Mark Gamba, Mayor, yes.
Monmouth, Myrtle Creek, Newport,
Dean Sawyer, Mayor, yes.
North Plains,
Mayor Terry Linehan, yes.
coming on the second side of the alphabet, folks. Pendleton,
John Turner, Mayor, yes.
Philomath,
Ruth Causey, Council President, yes.
Phoenix,
Tim Snyder, Counselor, Phoenix, yes.
Redmond,
George Endicott, Mayor, yes.
Reedsport,
Dee Dee Murphy, City Councilor, I vote yes.
Rogue River,
Mayor Wayne Stewart, I vote yes.
Roseburg,
Andrea Zielinski, City of Roseburg, I vote yes.
Sandy, Scappoose, Seaside,
Steve Wright, Seaside, Council President, yes.
Sherwood,
Tim Rosner, Council President, yes.
Siletz,
Susan Traxel, Councilor, yes.
Silverton, Sisters, St. Helens. Sublimity.
Cass Morrison, City Councilor.
Councilwoman Jessica
Yes.
Chilton of St. Helens. I vote yes.
Okay, I think both. I'll start with St. Helens. Counselor Chilton, you voted yes.
Yes.
And Counselor Farrell Morrison, you voted yes as well from
Yes.
Sublimity. Thank you. Tangent.
Go San Diego, City Manager, yes.
The Dalles.
Darcy Long, Counselor, yes.
Tigard.
Mayor Jason Snyder, yes.
Toledo.
Mayor Rod Cross, yes.
Troutdale.
Mayor Randy Lauer, yes.
Tualatin. Turner. Umatilla.
City Manager David Stockdale, yes.
Veneta.
Keith Weiss, Mayor, I vote yes.
West Lynn.
Mayor Jules Walters, yes.
Willamina. Wilsonville.
Mayor Julie Fitzgerald, yes.
Winston. Stand by so I can pull up the secondary list. City of Boardman.
Karen Pettigrew, City Manager, yes.
Awesome. Florence.
Woody Woodbury, City Council President, yes.
Drain.
City Councilor for the City of Drain, Joe Barker, yes.
Jefferson.
Walt Perry, Counselor, yes.
North Bend.
Jessica Engelkey, Mayor of North Bend, yes.
Mosier. Portland.
Nissan Khan on behalf of Commissioner Carmen Rubio from the City of Portland, voting yes.
Prineville.
Steve Uffelman, Council President, yes.
Salem.
Steve Powers, City Manager, yes.
Okay, that concludes the voting. Please give us a second to tally.
President Mays, staff can conclude that the slate of candidates passes.
Thank you, Patty. Thank you, Jenna. And thank you, all the members. Please join me in congratulating those individuals on their election to the 2020 LOC Board of Directors. Fantastic. Those wonderful additions. They are going to do a great job. I look forward to working with all of them and having them join the full board. Next on our agenda is constitutional amendments. We've done 2 votes. We only have 5 more to go. The LOC Board of Directors is proposing 5 amendments to the LOC Constitution. A memorandum explaining each of the amendments is available in the agenda packet on the LOC website. For additional context, please watch this brief video.
I did.
Hi, my name is Keith Mays. I'm the mayor of Sherwood, Oregon, and the 2021 League of Oregon Cities president. It is my honor and pleasure to lead the LOC, a statewide organization built to support and respond to the needs of all 241 Oregon cities. As an officer on the board of directors, one of my goals has been to ensure that participation on the board remains reflective of the entire state, that all municipalities and city officials are given an equal voice on the board. To that end, I'm proud to support 5 amendments to the LOC Constitution, each of which on their own ensures the board of directors remains a truly representative and statewide governing body. The amendments will be voted on during the LOC annual business meeting scheduled for Friday, October 22nd of this year. The LOC General Counsel, Patty Mulvihill, will briefly explain each of the proposed amendments, and then members of the LOC Board of Directors, LOC Bylaws Committee, and the Equity and Inclusion Committee will explain why they are supportive of the proposed amendments. Take it away, Patty.
Thank you, Mayor Mays. The first proposed amendment recommends a significant change to the leadership structure of the Board of Directors. Currently, the governing structure of the board, and you can see that in the visual on the left with the blue triangle, the current structure is such that a treasurer is going to serve a one-year term, and then they automatically ascend to the position of vice president, where they serve a one-year term. Then they go up to the president position, where they serve a one-year term. And then they conclude as immediate past president, again serving a one-year term. So when you're elected treasurer right now, you actually have a 4-year commitment to the board. The board's proposing we change that particular leadership structure, and you'll see this exemplified with the green triangle. What the board is proposing is that the treasurer position come out of the automatic line of ascension and become its own separately elected 2-year position. And then what will happen is the membership will vote for a vice president who will serve a 1-year term. The vice president will automatically ascend to the president, serving a 1-year term, and then automatically become the immediate past president, serving a 1-year term, which means that when you sign up to be vice president, you're committing to a 3-year term as opposed to the current 4-year commitment. Councilor Tania Browning of Central Point, the LOC's current vice president, as well as Councilor Beach Pace of Hillsborough, an LOC board director, will now provide you the reasons they support this amendment. Councilor Browning and Councilor Pace.
I support the change for 2 reasons. It will allow the treasurer's position to focus for 2 years on the LOC finance through the budget process and into the next year implementation. It will provide continuity of services and allow that particular person in that position to engage fully. At the same time, it will allow the president position to focus on leading without the distraction of numbers. While we all agree when we are elected to our positions for our cities that we are the stewards of our finances, let's be honest, not everyone who loves to serve loves finance, and not everyone who loves to lead loves numbers. So we want to make sure at the League of Oregon Cities that there's a space for everyone to lead. Whether you love numbers or you love leadership, you can serve at the League of Oregon Cities.
I support the amendment related to the treasurer position for a few reasons. Number one, the position of treasurer is a very specific role. You want somebody who understands finances to be in that role. And I like the idea of having a treasurer in there for 2 years because that provides some stability regarding finances. The next thing is that the vice president and president are also very specific roles and frankly, very different than the treasurer role. So if somebody wants to run for those positions, they can do that without having to go through the treasurer gauntlet, so to speak. The other thing is the time commitment. If somebody was interested in treasurer or interested in president or vice president, they have to commit to 4 years and all of those positions. Whereas if they were just going to do treasurer, they could do it for 2 years. Or if they wanted to do vice president and past president, they could do it in 2 or 3 years. So it's a little bit more, frankly, inclusive of people who only have so much time and they don't have to make a 4-year commitment in order to serve in just one of those roles. So it's a little bit more malleable and more inclusive for the people who may want to run for those 2 different roles.
The second proposed amendment recommends ensuring that each of the state's 12 regions is always represented on our board of directors. If you look at the visual, you'll see a map that has 12 specific regions of the state outlined on it. What the purpose of this amendment is to make sure is that there's at least a representative on the board of directors from all 12 regions. The board's recommending that we add a new provision to the LOC Constitution, which will allow the president and the LOC nominating committee to appoint persons from member cities of unrepresented regions to serve in a non-voting capacity on the board of directors. What's going to happen is after each annual meeting, when it's known who will serve as officers and directors on the board in the upcoming year, LOC staff will work with the president to identify if any of the regions in the state are unrepresented on the board. If there are regions which will not be represented by either a voting or non-voting board member, the president will convene the nominating committee to identify one individual who holds an elected position with a member city from each of the unrepresented regions to serve as a non-voting director. So if we would pretend that next year in 2022, we had what you'll see the graph there on your right, we had people from regions of everywhere except regions 10 and 12. What would happen is the president would convene the nominating committee and he would tell the nominating committee, you need to identify an elected official from both Region 10 and Region 12 to join the board of directors in 2022 to serve in a non-voting capacity. By doing that, the president and therefore the board would ensure that there's always a representative from each of the 12 regions of the state on the board of directors, providing feedback and comment on how the league should be run, its goals, its priorities, and what it should be care about. Mayor Dave Drotzman of Hermiston, a current LOC Equity and Inclusion Committee member, as well as Happy Valley Councilor David Amami, a current LOC Bylaws Committee member, will provide the reasons why they support this amendment. Mayor Drotzman and Councilor Amami.
I'm in support of the recommended amendment to the LOC Constitution that requires the board to always have a member from each of the LOC's 12 regions represented on the board, at the very least in a non-voting capacity. Our state is large and very diverse in geography, environment, economy, culture, and politically. Each region often has very different needs and expectations of the LLC than other regions of the state. So to make sure each region always has an equitable seat at the table, the current board is proposing this amendment. The question that should be asked is why not require the board to have a representative from each region? That's difficult for two reasons. They don't often get a volunteer to run from each region. And two, it would require a unanimous approval of all 241 cities to amend their 190 agreements with the LOC. So the compromise was made to expand the board with appointed non-voting members by a constitutional amendment, which only requires a 2/3 vote at the annual meeting. Upon approval, hopefully those new appointed members would transition to elected members of the board in the future. It's a great compromise on the LOC board's part to try and find an equitable solution and make sure all regions of the state are heard at the board level. Please join me in voting yes for this amendment.
As a proud member of the League of Oregon Cities Bylaws Committee and newly formed People of Color Caucus, I fully support the proposed amendment that ensures each region of the state is always represented on the LOC Board of Directors. One goal of the LOC People of Color Caucus is to ensure that those of us in leadership positions who have often been underrepresented or overlooked have an equal say in the future of this organization. This goal is being realized as the League has allowed members from the People of Color Caucus to serve on each and every committee so that we are able to help shape the future of not only our cities, but the entire state of Oregon. I believe representation matters, and when applying this same philosophy to the proposed amendment, it's a great solution to make sure that no matter who you are, how long you've been in office, and where you're from, with the LOC, you will always have a fair opportunity to have your voice heard. In my opinion, dividing the state into 12 distinct regions will help the LOC achieve its goal to ensure that every city in our fine state is always represented on the board. Whether you live in a small city or large, Northern Oregon or Southern Oregon, or all places in between, this proposed amendment will help ensure that everyone has a seat at the table. Thank you so much, Board of Directors, for all you do to help our cities, and I hope that you're all staying safe and doing well.
The third amendment will define the term appointed in the Constitution and do so in a way that two things occur. First, it will allow for cities that are being led by recorders as opposed to city managers or city administrators to serve on the board of directors. The board believes that the term appointed should apply to a city's chief executive officer. And while many medium and large cities in Oregon would consider their CEO to be either a city manager or a city administrator, smaller cities in Oregon do not typically have a city manager or a city administrator. Rather, what they have as an administrative head is their city recorder. And so to ensure that the true chief executive officer of each city has an equal opportunity to serve on the board of directors, the board believes the term appointed should be defined to mean any person who has been appointed by a city council and holds the title of city manager or city administrator. If a member city does not have a position titled city manager or city administrator, the city recorder, provided they are appointed to their position by the city council, also constitutes an appointed position. And if you look at the visual, you'll see what we're actually trying to do. Currently, you can serve on the board of directors if you're a city manager or a city administrator. What the proposed amendment does is expand that to include a city recorder, provided the recorder's been appointed by the council and their city doesn't have the position of city administrator or city manager. The second thing this amendment's going to do is it will allow for past presidents to continue their service on the board if they are still representing a city in either an elected official capacity or an appointed official capacity. Let's look at the visual. What you'll see with the blue circles is that right now, to serve as a past president on the board of directors, you have to have been a former LOC president and a current elected official with a member city. What we're doing is proposing the green circles. So to be a past president, you have to still be a former LOC president, but now you can either be an elected official with a member city or an appointed official with a member city. This is going to allow us to expand who can continue to be a past president on the board of directors. Now, Councilor Candy Conga-Pakar, a councilor member from Metolius and a member of the LOC's Equity and Inclusion Committee, is going to provide the reasons why she supports this amendment. Councilor Conga-Pakar.
As a member of the City Council for almost 5 years in the small city of Metolius, I have personally experienced and witnessed the crucial role of our city recorder. The city recorder manages the daily operations and ensures proper administration of codes and regulations. He or she plans, organizes, and coordinates activities involving staff meetings, council meetings, and any other local community events. In other words, the city recorders are de facto city managers or city administrators. Secondly, let us investigate what the League of Oregon Cities or LOC data suggest. Well, number one, small cities account for 74% of all LOC members. Number two, 34% of all LOC members are cities with a population of 1,000 or less. So, if the LOC excluded city recorders in those cities without city administrators or city managers from meeting the definition of appointed, that would essentially mean excluding those cities' chief administrative officers from serving in the LOC board of directors. Case in point, of the 81 cities with a population of 1,000 or less, only 12 are managed by city managers. That means the other 69 cities, which comprise 85% of the LOC membership, are managed by a city recorder. With this information in mind, let's ask ourselves, how do we accelerate equity and inclusion in the League of Oregon Cities? Whose voice do we need at the table? We need the voice of our city recorders. Thank you.
The final constitutional amendment being proposed will allow the board to hold its meetings in any manner that allows participants to simultaneously hear and speak to one another. While the Constitution presently permits the board to meet via in-person or phone conference, and platforms like Zoom can constitute a phone conference, the board does not wish to limit the manner in which it may meet, provided the medium used by the board is open and accessible to all. To that end, the board recommends that the Constitution be amended in relevant part to read as follows. The board may hold any meeting by or through the use of any means of communication allowing all participants to simultaneously hear and speak to one another. So if you look at the visual, what the board's trying to accomplish with this amendment is to say it can meet in person, it can meet via the telephone, it can meet via the computer, Or there's some new technological advance that happens in 3 years that we haven't even thought of yet, but would still allow for board members to have an actual, honest, simultaneous conversation. They want to make sure that the Constitution is written in such a way that we can have a meeting in any of those types of situations. Councillor Drew Farmer of Coos Bay, a current LOC board director, will provide the reasons why he supports this amendment. Councillor Farmer.
This is an important option to make our remote communities more engaged. I live about 4 hours from Salem myself. Not saying I've never made that trip in one day to and from, but I didn't feel I gave that meeting my best. Some other folks may have medical issues that prevent them from traveling, and we still want to have them engaged. Last year, I had about a month where I wasn't able to drive for a medical reason. This amendment would allow more folks experiencing situations like that to remain engaged in the process, even though travel may not be an option. Of course, it's Oregon as well, and we've got every form of weather that exists in the world, so weather can also preclude us from travel. This is a simple amendment. It allows more folks to be engaged in the League of Oregon Cities process who otherwise might not be able to. And I'd like to encourage everyone to be in favor of this amendment.
On behalf of the Board of Directors, I want to thank the following persons for helping me explain the proposed constitutional amendments and why they deserve to be adopted by the LOC membership. Councillor Tanea Browning of Central Point, Councillor Beach Pace of Hillsborough, Mayor Dave Drotzman of Hermiston, Councillor David Amani of Happy Valley, Councillor Candy Kenga Picard of Metolius, and Councillor Drew Farmer of Coos Bay. As the LOC president, I want each of Oregon's 241 cities to have an equal opportunity to be an active participant on the board of directors. Additionally, I joined the board because I believe the LOC board serves its members best when it is comprised of board members from across the entire state, from cities of all sizes, and from cities with urban, suburban, and rural characteristics. I believe the proposed constitutional amendments go a long way towards ensuring the board of directors will be truly reflective of the state as a whole and open to all 241 member cities. I encourage each member city to review the proposed constitutional amendments in depth. Additionally, I ask each member city to please vote in support of the various amendments. If you have any questions about the specific amendments or about the process involved in voting on the amendments, please contact LOC's General Counsel, Patty Mulvihill. Patty's contact info is available on the LOC website at www.orcities.org. Again, orcities.org. Thank you, and please vote in support of all 5 constitutional amendments during the annual business meeting on Friday, October 22nd. All right, now we're live again. We will vote on each of the 5 amendments one at a time. Each vote will be done like we've done via roll call. Please remember, if you are the city's registered delegate, when your city's name is called, please unmute your microphone, state your name, your city's name, and how you vote. The first amendment will remove the treasurer position from the automatic line of ascension to the president and instead make the position a standalone 2-year position elected by the membership, while simultaneously allowing the treasurer position to be open to both elected and appointed officials from member cities. I should note this amendment, if it successfully passes, will go into effect next year and do so in a staggered fashion. By this, I mean if the amendment passes in 2022, the membership will elect a treasurer for a 2-year term. However, it will not elect a vice president as treasurer. As the treasurer of the membership just elected, Drotzman will serve as vice president in 2022. The membership will first vote on the vice president position in 2023. You'll have a motion and a second to adopt the board's proposed amendment related to the treasurer position.
Mayor Mays, before we get a motion, it has been asked if it's possible for us to do all 5 amendments at once, which would help streamline. And so begging your pardon, could we get an explanation from Patty, either explaining why we can't, or if it's possible to maybe get some wording so that we could vote for all 5 at the same time and not prolong the voting process. And again, I beg your pardon for this interruption.
All right. Hey, Patty, are you nearby?
I did. Thank you, President Mays, and thank you, Mayor Callaway. You certainly can vote on all 5 amendments at once. We had structured it this way in case there were members who, for example, like say amendments 1 and 2, but had a problem with amendment 3, they wouldn't feel forced to vote on an entire package. That said, either you or any other member could certainly make a motion that said, I move to adopt all 5 amendments as recommended by the Board of Directors. If that motion received a second, we would take a vote on it. And if that motion passed, then all 5 amendments would pass. As being a lawyer, caveat, if that motion would fail, then we would go back and need to do all 5 amendments separately.
Steve, please, or Tania. Tania, you're teed up to make a motion. Would you please make a good motion to that effect?
Absolutely. I propose that we adopt the amendments 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 as outlined in the videos. Is that enough?
And I second the motion of adopting all 5 amendments as presented.
Amen. I love the motion in the second. We will move to roll call. Yeah, Jenna, will you please call the roll?
Albany.
Alex Johnson, the second mayor of Albany, Oregon. I approve the slate of recommendations.
Amity.
Rachel King, Mayor. I vote yes.
Ashland. Astoria.
Bruce Jones, Mayor, yes.
Banks.
Stephanie Jones, Mayor, yes.
Brownsville. Burns. Canby.
Canby, Brian Hodson, Mayor of Canby, yes to all 5.
Cannon Beach.
Tom Stidell, Mayor, Cannon Beach, yes.
Carlton. Cascade Locks.
Butch Miller, Counselor, abstain.
Thank you, Counselor. Cave Junction.
Meadow Martell, Mayor, yes.
Central Point.
Nia Browning, Central Point, yes.
Coos Bay.
Sarah Stevens, yes.
Cornelius.
Rob Drake, City Manager, yes.
Corvallis.
Gabe Shepard, Counselor, yes.
Cottage Grove.
Jeff Gowing, Mayor, yes.
Dallas.
Brian Dalton, Mayor, yes.
Dayton. Durham. Eagle Point.
Ruth Jenks, Mayor, yes.
Estacada. Forest Grove.
Forest Grove, Pete Truax, Mayor, yes.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy Valley. Harrisburg.
Michelle Eldridge, City Administrator, yes.
Hermiston.
Rod Harden, Hermiston, yes.
Hillsborough.
Steve Calloway, Mayor, yes.
Independence.
John McCardle, Mayor, yes.
Irrigan,
Aaron Palmquist, City Manager, yes to all five.
you. Joseph. Kaiser,
Kathy Clark, Mayor, yes.
King City,
Jamie Fender, Council President, yes.
Klamath Falls,
Todd Andrus, Counselor, abstain.
Lafayette,
Marie Sproul, Mayor, yes.
Lincoln City,
Mayor Susan Waukee, I vote yes.
Madras,
Richard Lattabie, Mayor, yes.
Malin, McMinnville, Medford, Medford? Okay, I knew they were here earlier. Milwaukee,
Mark Emma, Mayor, no.
Oh, interesting.
Monmouth, Myrtle Creek, Newport,
Dean Sawyer, Mayor, yes.
North Plains,
Terry Linehan, Mayor, North Plains, yes, as presented in the motion.
Pendleton,
John Turner, Mayor, yes.
Philomath,
Ruth Causey, Council President, yes.
Phoenix,
Jim Snyder, Councilor Phoenix, yes.
can someone mute their microphone? Thank you. Redmond,
George Endicott, Mayor, yes.
Reedsport,
Dee Dee Murphy, City Councilor, yes.
Rogue River,
Wayne Stewart, Mayor, yes.
Roseburg,
Andrea Zielinski, City of Roseburg Councilor, I vote yes on all five.
Sandy, Scappoose, Seaside,
Steve Wright, Seaside Council President, I vote yes on all five.
Sherwood,
Tim Rosner, City Council President, I vote yes on the slate.
Siletz,
Susan Traxel, City Councilor, yes on all five.
Silverton, Sisters, St. Helens,
Councilwoman Jessica Chilton, and I vote yes.
thank you. Sublimity,
Cass Morrison, Sublimity City Council, I vote yes on all five constitutional amendments.
Tangent,
Joe Sammiego, City Manager, I vote yes.
The Dalles,
Darcy Long, City Councilor, yes.
Tigard,
Sorry, Mayor Jason Snyder, yes on all five amendments.
thank you. Toledo,
Mayor Rod Cross, yes on all five amendments.
Troutdale,
Randy Lauer, yes.
Tualatin, Turner, Umatilla,
City Manager David Stockdale, yes.
Veneta,
Keith Weiss, Mayor, yes.
Westland,
Good afternoon, everybody. Rory Bialostowski, Councilor from City of Westland, votes yes on all five.
Willamina, Wilsonville,
Mayor Julie Fitzgerald, yes.
Winston,
I'm leaving.
Anyone from Winston? Just want to double check to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Okay, last few folks. Thank you for bearing with me as I scroll to the top of my spreadsheet. Boardman,
Karen Pettigrew, city manager, yes on all 5.
Drain,
I have a parliamentary procedural question. Are we voting to vote on all 5 constitutional amendments? Or are we voting on the constitutional amendments now?
The motion, as I understood it from Councilor Browning, that was seconded by Mayor Callaway, is that you're voting to adopt all 5 amendments now.
Well, isn't that out of parliamentary procedure and order? Because you have to take a vote on the approval to make the amendment to vote on all 5, and then take the vote to vote on all 5.
I'm not sure I understand the question. So there was a legitimate motion that was put on the table that they just voted to basically combine all 5 together and vote and adopt them all at one time, and that was seconded.
Okay. All right. Okay. My mistake. I understand it now. My vote is yes on 1, 2, 4, and 5, and I abstain on 3.
Can you come back? I'm sorry that the vote was, the motion that was presented and second requires you to either vote on all 5 at one time, turn down all 5, or abstain. That's the way the motion was presented and seconded. It's an all or nothing package.
Abstain on all 5.
okay, Florence,
Woody Woodbury, City Council President, yes.
Jefferson,
Paul Perry, Counselor, yes.
Mosier, North Bend,
Jessica Engelke, Mayor of North Bend, yes on all 5.
Portland, Prineville,
Steve Uffelman, Council President, yes to the slate.
Salem,
Steve Powers, Salem, yes.
Okay, give us one moment to tally the votes.
This is Sarah Spansale, counselor in Medford. I lost my connection, but if it's not too late, I also vote yes.
President Mays, I'd like to report that the vote passes with 54 votes in the affirmative, 1 vote in the negative, and 3 abstentions.
Thank you, Patty. And on behalf of Jenna and Patty and I, at a minimum, thank all the members for voting on all 5 at the same time. That probably just saved us half hour, 40 minutes. Let's see, on behalf of the Board of Directors, I want to thank each of you for investing the time in reviewing and considering each of the 5 amendments before you today and before you voted. All right, with the voting is concluded for the 2022 Board of Directors positions and the proposed constitutional amendments, and it is now my pleasure to address you as the 2021 Board President. My opportunity to inform you of what the LOC has accomplished this year and where I hope to see the LOC going in the future. Leadership in times of turmoil and uncertainty. That's what we've all faced these past 20 months. To my fellow elected leaders and staff, a heartfelt thank you for your service and your leadership. You may not have chosen the backdrop against which to serve, but you did make the choice to enter public service. Because of that decision, we are all better off. The needs of cities across Oregon have changed. Budgets are tighter, Politics have become complicated. The type of support needed by our cities today is infinitely more involved and critical now. It's more than ever. In response to all of this, the LOC and its board of directors evolved its mission and vision. Our goal is to remain that pillar of support and be one constant for cities in a sea of change. At no time during the LOC's history has this been more evident than just these past couple of years. We've been battered with a series of disasters, from the pandemic and floods, wildfires, to economic fallout, to social unrest. We, both as Oregonians and the LOC, have weathered the storm and established ourselves as a leader and a force in the state. Now, as we begin to close the chapter on another year in our history, we once again look forward and not back. As cities need to evolve, so does the LOC. We are growing our organizational scope and function to include more and critical support services that cities need now and in the future. The LOC already begun this exercise of visioning and imagining its purpose and function as we move forward into 2022. For the remainder of this year, we will work on an overarching strategic plan for the organization. This will be the basis of how we move forward in the coming years. Our incoming LOC president, Central Point Councilor Tania Browning, will lead this effort. Some things to look for in the LOC in the coming months: enhanced staffing support for our members and affiliates, a robust communications and outreach program designed to improve access for all, a strong focus on issues of import and impact, namely property tax reform, an expansion of our legal program to support even more regions of the state, the build out of more collaborative support hub, leveraging like-minded organizations to drive our strategic plan forward, a stronger, healthier foundation to support greater access to LOC-sponsored events and educational opportunities, and continued leverage of technology to amplify the provision of information and collaboration between cities and regions. Our lobby team will always be front and center for all of this, and we have grown our team to 6 professionals this year. Our goal, the LOC's goal, is to be the go-to source for all 241 cities in Oregon. It has been an absolute honor and privilege to lead this in these uncertain times. This past year has showed what the LOC is made of. 16 visionary and dedicated volunteer directors, 22 highly committed staff members, and a whole lot of get it done attitude from both. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you, and I'm excited to see the continued leadership of incoming President Browning in January. Thank you. Next on our agenda is recognition of our outgoing members of the board. I want to thank each of our board members for their years of service, dedication, volunteerism to our organization, and certainly to their communities, but into our state. Leaving us at the end of this year, unfortunately, from the board is Scott Derrickson, City Manager of Woodburn, Drew Farmer, City Councilor Coos Bay, Peter Hall, City Councilor Haynes, and Steve Uffelman, City Councilor Prineville. Thank you all. Now we move on to item H on the agenda and the report to members, which will be provided by Executive Director Mike Cully and CIS Executive Director Patrick Priest.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Cully. I'm the Executive Director of the League of Oregon Cities. It's great to be here, even virtually. Hope this is the last year that we're virtual, but I promise you that next year we've got a lot of in-person events planned, including our spring conference in Hermiston, and we will be back at the Bend River House. Mark it on your calendar, first week of October 2022. We're going to be right back in Bend. We're going to do this in person, and we're going to go big. So be there. Now, this has been a year of a lot of firsts and a lot of interesting firsts, if I may say so. It's the first time that the LOC has really done everything virtually. It's also the first time that we've done all our lobbying virtually. Our advocacy team never once set foot in the Capitol building, so that was interesting. But more importantly, I think it's the first time that the LOC has secured billions in revenue for both the state and cities. It's been an amazing year. And as I said, I also hope it is the last year that we have to do things this way. Personally, this has been an extremely rewarding year, even though it's been mostly virtual. And they say the only constant in life is change. But one thing that hasn't changed is our relationship with CIS. That's Oregon's risk pool. And joining me today is Patrick Priest. He's the executive director of CIS and just a great friend of ours and a great visionary. And Patrick, we were founded together in 1981, CIS was, by AOC, the Association of Oregon Counties, and the League of Oregon Cities. And what a great time it's been developing that. We provided coverage to cities and counties probably when no one else would. We are Oregon's risk pool. And I want to thank you for joining us and just talk to me about the leadership that's going on behind CIS and the visions that you've got.
Well, thank you very much, Mike, for that introduction. It is a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be here in person. And, you know, over this past year, we also at CIS have been doing everything virtually, and our board is meeting virtually. You are such a key part of that, bringing the voice of cities to all of our decisions to make sure cities are represented. We've done some really exciting things I know we're going to talk about.
Yep.
Saving money, building up the investment that cities have, because CIS is owned by the cities and governed by the cities. So in addition to you, a permanent fixture on our board, the executive director of the League of Cities, this year, the chair, every other year it switches between cities and counties. The chair this year is Ken Woods, who is, I think, the longest serving city council person in Oregon, first or second. So, and he is our longest serving CIS trustee. And so he is doing a great job. He just recently retired from his day job being an insurance agent. So he really brings a lot of expertise and leadership to the organization. You know, when I first started 3 years ago, and I know you started not that long before that,
right.
We had to deal with a lot of succession. And among that was succession among the board. So we have 3 other really relatively new board members, starting with Suleen Gandy from the city of Hillsborough. She's a risk manager. She really brings real risk management experience to the board. That was a new kind of selection under your leadership, and I think a great one. She was our chair last time around. We also have Chrisanna Endicott-Clark, a city council person from Redmond, a former mayor, also with some insurance background, and she's been doing a great job. And then also representing Eastern Oregon and smaller communities, a really great selection. The very last one is Catherine Greiner from the city of Condon. She is their city administrator. Also, she brings real practical knowledge and experience to our board. So
yeah,
we're well represented among.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, this also, when I talk about a year of first, this has been a year of first for CIS too. You are not interested in making profit off of cities. What you're interested in doing is protecting them. And this year, you took an extraordinary step in forging partnerships that really you might consider outside the box, looking outside and partnering with maybe a competitor. But the SAFE program that you put together, I think it's a stroke of genius. So tell me a little bit about that.
So when I first started at CIS, you know, I remember being in interviews and with you there. And I would talk about some of the things that I had done in Colorado with the work comp program, and everybody seemed real interested. And I thought, well, there's something going on with that. But when I started, I learned that CIS, we are nonprofit. We definitely are trying to pass along the costs of providing coverage. But for the workers' compensation program, SAFE had been able to offer lower premiums for a number of years. And so the program had been shrinking. So we really did an analysis of figuring out how can we best serve the value for cities and counties. And I reached out, and with the board's leadership, we were able to forge a partnership with SAFE, where it is SAFE policies that are serviced by CIS. We provide those risk management services and keep that holistic risk management when there are employment matters that relate to, you know, our pre-loss team and workers' compensation and benefits. It can be all still within one house. and have lower costs. I know a lot of the cities across Oregon saved tremendously by joining into this program and have better service. So it's really a win-win-win, I think.
That is huge, looking out for the best interests of the cities and the counties. And that was, again, I think just a stroke of genius doing that. Another first was subsidizing property rates. And tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. So among all the coverages, property, we are charge to you, the cost that we're passing along to you is insurance for the big event, for the big earthquake, for a hurricane, for a flood. And that is more than half of the cost is what we place in the international marketplace. We have coverage with Lloyd's of London, with international carriers, and you may or may not know that, you just think of it as being CIS.
Sure.
But peer pooling organizations across the country had to pass along 20, 50% increases in property rates because there are hurricanes and other places that we all have to share in the cost of. One of the big risks that those carriers are worried about is wildfires. And so we did have a little bit of that risk that we had to explain. It was really nice to be able to talk about the legislation that LOC helped put forward to mitigate wildfire risks here in Oregon. And we were able to secure coverage at a very good rate. It was an increase, but also because of the strengths of the program, we were able to subsidize that rate and keep the increases in single digits, which was really, I think, amazing.
Gotta love it. You know, you are such great partners. And again, cities wouldn't have this kind of coverage if they weren't part of the LOC. They couldn't be part of you. And Patrick, I want to thank you for joining us today. I hope this really shows all of you out there that we really are one. We are one. In many states, risk pools are run by state leagues. In ours, we felt it a really good move back in 1981 to make it a standalone organization, and boy, was that decision right. So the LOC, we are primed for 2022. We're ready to march forward with CIS. Just looking forward to a good year next year, and I really appreciate everybody, all of you out there, for sticking with us through this year. It's been tough. We've been there for you. We'll continue to be there for you. Patrick, again, thank you so much, and we'll see you all soon.
Thank you, Mike and Patrick. Next item on our agenda is the incoming president's message. This, of course, will be provided by City Councilor Tanea Browning from the City of Central Point.
Thank you, President Mays, and welcome. I am so excited to be in front of you today and serve as your incoming 2022 League of Oregon Cities president. It's been a long haul this last year. The excitement that I have for our cities and you as leaders for the coming year is palpable, but don't let me get ahead of myself. We must recognize the hard work that has brought us to this place, the work that has gotten us to today. I would be remiss to not mention past LOC President Mayor Denny Doyle and his role in getting me excited about the League of Oregon Cities. Past President Tim Slater and his thoughtful leadership that welcomed me, and the incredibly important work of past President Evans and Boone, embarking on what would turn out to be a well-timed and bit fortuitous strategic plan that identified opportunities to broaden the diversity and equity and inclusion of the League of Oregon Cities. With work getting done, committees through crisis after crisis, we enter the reign of our current LOC President, Mayor Mays of Sherwood. Sherwood, by the way, has an incredible sweet shop. President Mays was tasked by situational necessity to help guide the League of Oregon Cities into updating structural support for the programs born of our strategic plan. This was no easy feat and was done by building relationships and listening to all of our cities. Listening can be tough when folks are not pleased, and these are tough conversations President Mays has navigated. Thank you, President Mays. It is thanks to the hard work of our amazing staff, past boards, and presidents that we, the League of Oregon Cities, are in a position where we can come together, maybe in smaller groups than in the past, and learn how our cities are thriving and suffering, areas of abundance and scarcity. And we can listen to how we can help our neighbors and how they can help us. The League is positioned to listen and connect in a way that leverages our city's experience to bring forth the resources they need. This will allow us to tackle some serious conversations around longstanding league priorities like property tax reform, mental health, and home rule. Good leaders do a lot, and great leaders listen too. We have the opportunity to start these conversations and listen to how these decisions affect our small and large cities differently. We have the opportunity this year as we travel to your region, having listening sessions, town hall meetings, and touring your city. We want to know what mental health and property tax conversations look like in your city with your tax increment and your services. How can we advocate for all 241 cities? These cities that hold their citizens' well-beings in the highest of priority. We must listen to our cities and we must meet them where they are. I beg of you to participate in these sessions. Please be part of this new way of connecting your story to create impact with legislators. We do have one thing in common. We love our cities. Our cities deserve to be heard, and I can't wait to listen. Thank you and see you soon. Back to you, President Mays.
Thank you, Councilor Browning. Are there any items of other business? Out of your mic, anything that I'm missing? With that, the 2021 League of Oregon Cities Annual Business Meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.